In this video, I'm going to give you some top tips that you can use now to make your work conversations more effective, more valuable, and more fun. This is Productivity ACE. Let's get it done. If you're at all serious about wanting to progress at work, develop your career, build those great relationships that everyone talks about, then you're going to have a lot of conversations. Individual, group, fun, serious, stressful, enjoyable. There are a whole different type of conversations and also a whole load of interesting moving parts to each one, spanning a wide variety of topics and aspects. It's a fascinating subject. What makes some conversations effective and what makes others a complete waste of time? So let's get into it. And remember, as soon as you feel that, oh, that was good moment going through your head, that's your cue to hit the like button and show me some love. So here's how you can have better conversations. Mirroring. This technique works in person and video calls. The idea is that people naturally assume the posture and mannerisms of others that they respect. Try it sometime. If you suspect somebody you're talking to is into you or is really engaged with what you're saying, try putting your hands behind your head or something like that, or changing your posture, and watch as they do the same without even realizing it. They're unconsciously mirroring your behavior. And you can use mirroring to your advantage by carefully observing posture, body language, speed of speech, mannerisms, and then deliberately mirroring them. Because this has been proven to subconsciously enhance the bond and the connection between people in conversational situations. Active sitting. In a face-to-face meeting with one or more people, ensure that you position the chairs correctly. This means not a face-off situation with one chair directly across from another with a desk in between. That's a challenging and direct position. It forces continuous eye contact. It's much less relaxing. That's one of the reasons people find interviews stressful, because they typically have that desk arrangement. Look at how you can position chairs at either 90 or 45-degree angles to each other. This creates a much more relaxing and calming vibe, doesn't force so much eye contact, and it can be greatly effective when meeting with junior people or people who have a more introverted nature. There's a whole science behind seating arrangements in meetings that I might go into in another video, so do check out some of the available materials on that topic. The message is that the ergonomics of how you sit in relation to others can immediately affect the atmosphere and vibe of the meeting. So the more you can learn to recognize this, the more effective your meetings will be. Look for the win-wins. In many conversations, you'll be wanting something. I mean, that's usually the point of calling most work meetings. You want something, a delivery, a commitment, a resource, it can be anything. In those situations, it's always a good idea to make sure that you're not only clear and fair in what you're asking for, but always look to sweeten the deal by offering something in return. Maybe you'll make a future commitment to return a favor, or maybe you'll get the extra project resource you want, but will endeavor to provide some feedback or other learning opportunity in return. The more you can make every ask into a mutual win-win, the more chance you'll have of success. And you'll also develop that valuable reputation as somebody that's super collaborative and great to deal with, which is incredibly important. Keep a log of regular interactions. For all the people that you find yourself having regular interactions with, I find it hugely helpful to keep a chronological log of the topics discussed. Nothing too detailed, just a list of topics. That way I can remember what we've talked about over time. I can be aware of trends or regular topics of interests and so on. All of which helps me to build up a much more effective relationship with the person I'm speaking to. It's also super handy to use this log as an agenda builder, because you might remember a topic suddenly that you should bring up in a meeting that's happening in a few days' time. But don't try and remember it, just open up your log, make a note under the heading things to talk about next time, and then when it comes to that next meeting, you just pull up the log, and there you have, you've got a readily built agenda for discussion. Otherwise, you're likely to forget what it is you just remembered. And also use this log to record any actions you might have taken. That way you can be sure to follow up on things that you said you would follow up on. It's so easy to forget once you've hung up the call. Keeping a log really is one of the most useful meeting productivity tips that I use, and it ensures that conversations are effective and flowing and a good use of time. Be mindful of your emotional bank balance. So during every interaction, it's a good idea to monitor the emotional balance of the conversation. What I mean by that is that you start out level, and every positive thing you do increases your balance and thus gives the other person a reason to deem the conversation as satisfying from their perspective. You put more into it. And conversely, everything negative or anything you take from somebody during a conversation decreases your balance and thus leads the person you're talking to deem the conversation as negative. Examples of emotional withdrawals include things like disagreement, self-praise, dishonesty, or going off topic. And conversely, You're depositing positive emotion if you agree or affirm, if you ask for somebody's opinion, if you give a genuine compliment, if you demonstrate active listening, or if you use their name even. So you want to finish most conversations relatively level. Sometimes you'll have invested more, sometimes you'll have deposited more. What you want to avoid are those conversations that are significantly skewed in either direction, as that's likely to mean one person hasn't had a great outcome to that conversation. The real skill here is to be situationally aware enough to be able to adjust that balance during the call to end up as close to even as possible. So keep track of the vibe, keep track of the emotional bank balance that you and the other person are doing. It's kind of like a blackjack player counting cards, only with emotions. So hey, if you found this useful, hit that like button, and if you really like it and want more, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching this video. We will see you next time.